Sheets We're going to be talking about this Monday MLB slate. But I've been out. Obviously, I still have COVID, but I'm doing a lot better. And Sheets has been just tearing it up. Had a great weekend. Sheets, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So for those of you that watch though, so the early slate on Saturday, I fired like most of the stuff and literally just like won everything. I just missed the 444 by 2 points or something like that. But I won the single entry, the lottery, like literally everything for like, I don't know, for like 30,000 or something. And that was after I had to hit on Tuesday for FanDuel for 30 and the other one. And so then yesterday I played the ball 4 and I listen, I did the process video. I really want to keep doing these things. And I remember what I said in the process video. I said, okay, when we're going through the process, oh, by the way, you want to know who the best plays are? I'll tell you who the best plays are, but I might not end up playing them. So the best plays are Dylan Cease and Chris Bassett. These are the 2 best plays. I'm telling you, those are the 2 best plays. Am I going to play them? Probably not. Okay, but those are the best plays. So I ran the thing and I did my process and here we go. We played Oakland against Chris Bassett, and they smashed. And then I got really kind of fortunate because I played Houston and Paxton got pulled. He got hurt or something after like the first inning. And even like the announcer of Boston was like, oh, we better start scoring runs because I think this is the day after the bullpen got used. So we're not ready for this one. And that's good for me. And Houston just went freaking ballistic on it. So and then I won this one by like 20, like here, I'll show you, but that was one by like 20 freaking full points. So that I consider myself a little fortunate just because of the Houston part of it. I didn't project for that to happen, obviously, but nobody did.
Yeah, that was wild.
But I had a 5% on Hunter Brown, who freaking just smashed bloody murder, and Springs, and I did say in the stream that Springs was the next best option, and he only went up 13% owned, and they pulled him out before any damage could be done. It was perfect, you know. It was against Baltimore, so yeah, running really hot. But again, I'm kind of more psyched with the way I'm doing the videos nowadays about just really focusing on the process. For those of you who are following, I know guys are not all into it, but I really don't care. Like I'm doing like League of Legends stuff more, like more little quick videos analyzing slates and going over process more so that I can keep the State Kings people happy because I really want to turn that into a better experience. But I'm going to keep doing that. And I'm sorry it bothers you guys that if you subscribe to the channel and you expect to see baseball and like the bigger sports, you get notified and say, ooh, what Sheet's doing? Oh, another freaking mid-slate update for League of Legends. You know, I don't know. All I'm doing is what I'm doing. So,
well, I've seen a lot of people who are very appreciative of it, and I would encourage everybody, no matter what you play, to check it out because I had some time on my hands over this last period of time, and I got to just rewatch these things, and I was just started listening to them while I was laying in bed, feeling like that.
Yeah, nice.
But it was really helpful actually. There was things that you were pointing out, and got me fired up, like as if I wanted to start playing the League of Legends and all that. But I listened to the baseball stuff too. It was really, really good process stuff. And
and here's the thing, and I have to keep saying this, okay? We see how you're doing well. This. Listen, I'm not just saying this to be whatever. I'm just learning like everybody else. And with all these sims and all these products and all these ways to use them, I'm literally experimenting every day. So people come in here and say, Sheets, what you're using risk-adjusted ROI because they're saying this. Why is it better? I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I just give you my opinion on what I think, and I'm going to continue to listen to SaberSim people and other people give me advice, and I pass along what I'm trying to you guys, And someone just asked in the chat, Lopez, he's a very well learned like content absorber. He's like everywhere. He said, what do you think about this? And it seems what's working. I'm like, well, I'll tell you this. This is what I've been doing. And I've been winning, but that doesn't mean that that's the right thing. It could be just you're an outlier or whatever. So this is my process. This is what I'm doing, and I'll continue to update you as I change things. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I think it's great, and it's thrilled to see you winning, especially when we couldn't even be in there competing. So, anyway, so we've got another reasonable size slate today. So we're going to be fighting with Sheets for second. I know he hates that kind of stuff.
Well, it's the same thing again today. It's like we'll get to this. It's a big slate, but it's a freaking easy slate. Like if you give me 45 seconds to tell you who to play, I can get you out of here in 45 seconds. I mean, really, I could tell you who the best plays are in like two seconds. But the thing is, as could everybody else.
Right.
So and in baseball, as you can see, it's like 1 millimeter off the center of the bat is a pop fly for a chalky player than you know what I mean, like than for a low-owned player hitting a home run. You know, so it's a weird sport like that, and you know, just kind of happy I'm not looking at my lineups anymore when I put them in. You know, because I would never play these things otherwise. So let's I guess we'll just get started, I suppose.
Yeah. Let's get into it. I'm probably only going to be playing one lineup tonight, so my attitude may be a little different. But I always think about everything from a multi-entry standpoint as well. So, all right, we start off with one of the better hitting environments on the slate. Sheets, what do you like in this Boston Texas game?
First of all, it looks as though Brian Bello is going to play. He was on the paternity list, so he's here for the first time as a father, I guess, or maybe was a previous father, but he's another father, I guess. I'm not getting to any of these pitchers, and once again, I have a very compact slate with respect to like who I actually like. As far as the hitting goes, like you said, I do have Texas as one of my top. I have a top 4 and like 2 secondary ones, and I definitely have Texas as one of my top 4. So I do like that, and I didn't get to Boston though. So you tell me if you like anything different or the same.
Yeah, so I actually think that both sides are in play, and there's not a lot of hitting that I like on this slate. There's going to be massive chalk in a couple spots. Actually, this will probably be, I guess, the 3rd highest owned spot. I guess it would be with the Texas side of things. But even that is not crazy high owned. But I'm interested in both offenses at first look, and it's like 2 pitchers that I think actually have like talent. It's not like these are terrible pitchers, but it's Boston. 73 degrees with the, some wind blowing out, 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing out. Huge park upgrade for Texas. And then you've got cheap pieces like Sogard, assuming that he's still in there for Boston at 2,700, just sort of makes things work for the stacks. So I have interest in both stacks here, and I'm not going to be able to get to either of the pitching.
With my current ownership, I mean, I actually have Texas. It depends who you play from the Yankees, but if you play like the wrong guys from the Yankees, I mean, or the right guys from the Yankees, I could actually see Texas being higher owned than the Yankees. I guess it just depends who you play.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, but Texas definitely be one of the chalkier spots because it's one of the better spots.
Yep. And then I'll tell you what, it feels like Boston puts up a ton of runs every day. I don't know, just to me,
they do.
It's like the All-Star break. It feels like that's what.
Except for against Hunter Brown yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so. Is it Kansas City, Minnesota? Yeah, Kansas City, Minnesota. All right, we got our guy on the mound. What are we doing?
Yeah, so first of all, I have Lopez just below the top guys for me. I have 4 guys top of the top, and then I have Lopez a little bit below. And it's not just because he was kind of crappy in his last start. That's just where I have this. And Brady Singer, kind of as usual, he doesn't really project all that well, and I usually put him in. But remember, like Brady Singer, I mean, he does well against like bad teams, okay? Which he might do well against good teams sometimes, but Brady Singer, when he really puts up the scene, when I really want to play him, is when he's kind of lower owned against the worst team. So I don't know if I'm going to like force him in like I usually do. So I'm probably going to be, I don't want to say off of this game, but if I get to it, I get to it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to play anything.
I'm not going to go out of my way, especially, but I do have interest in both Singer and Lopez. I just think it's interesting. Like I don't think Singer gets any respect now. Unfortunately, his history with this team, he hasn't exactly been dominant against these guys, but he hasn't faced them that much, even though they're same division. At least not with the lineup that they're expected to run out there today. I'm willing to take a gamble on Singer here. I think on this kind of a slate, if I was going to play one of the chalkier stacks. If I was going to play a Texas or a Yankees or a Arizona, I think I would tell myself to play some Brady Singer along with it. So that's what I've got. Lopez looks like clearly the better play on paper. How many times this year have we said Lopez is the better play on paper and actually he does nothing? Just feels like almost every time these days. So if I had to do anything, if I was going to get creative if I was going to use non-creative stacks, I'd get creative by using Brady Singer as a way to get off of some of the chalk and save a little bit of money from the top pitchers. All right, now we've got. Do you have the Dodger one? I have the White Sox next.
I have White Sox. All right, so here we're going to get some chalk. So I guess I'll just start with the pitching. So Lewis, is it Lewis Gill or Lucas? So Lewis Gill. This is obviously a pretty pristine matchup for him, righty against the White Sox or anybody against the White Sox, and he happens to be a righty. And he's one of my top 4 pitchers, so I like that. And then as far as the Yankees go, I mean, we get another chance to deal with this Kai Bush. Now, Kai Bush, remember, we talked about him kind of a decent amount last time because he came in like as a 4K pitcher, and we were trying to figure out whether he was,
Oakland. Right.
he was worth playing against Oakland, and his metrics weren't that great to begin with. But we just figured at 4K, how bad could it be? And listen, he got through 4 innings, whatever, not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's obviously kind of a rough spot, and as a result, the Yankees are, projecting, 6-7 points higher than everybody else. So it's they're certainly the best raw point play on the slate. They're actually not the worst value either with some of this pricing. I mean, I think that you look at who are some of these like where's Dylan Mayhew? What's his price? I mean, he's probably really cheap. Verdugo is 3,200. I mean, yeah. Oh, Dylan Mayhew is 2,500. That's how I was saying. It depends on if you play like Dylan Mayhew and Verdugo in your stats with Stanton and Soto and whatever and Judge or whatever, then you're going to get some. This could be really, really chalky.
Yeah.
If you just play the expensive guys, it becomes a little harder to get to with the pitchers that we want to play. So that's the only reason I was talking about the ownership before. But listen, who's going to score the most runs? Yankees, probably. Who's going to score the most fantasy points? Yankees, probably. But probably is rough business, when 30% of the people are going to play him. And I don't mean 30%, but like a good amount of the stacks are going to be coming out of the Yankee dugout. All right, let's put it that way. So I like them, but same caution is normal. I mean, if you play them, don't play the chalky pitchers, or if you do play the chalky pitchers with them, make sure you don't play, maybe there's like some 9-hitter that's too expensive or something, for the Yankees. Maybe you play that one, something like that, or you mess around with the construction. Yankees, Gill. I don't really feel like playing anything on the White Sox side, but how these sims work, whatever. I'm sure I'll end up getting, whatever. So, but as far as the best plays, definitely Gill is one of the best pitchers, and the Yankees are probably the best.
Yeah, as I always say on these slates, I'm talking about playing one lineup. There's a 0% chance that I stack the Yankees. It's clearly. I just think the ownership is going to be tremendous, like way up there. If you want to find things to look at, you could argue it to be somewhat of a bullpen-ish game, even though Bush, he went through 4 his first game, but then you have a bullpen afterwards. It's so bad, it's almost doesn't help anything. It is 74 degrees with some wind blowing in, so not the hitting weather we've seen from the White Sox recently, where it was 80 plus and then blowing out at 20 miles an hour. And the Yankees have a massive 6 total, so it's hard to ignore them. It's one of those spots where I would have considered back in the day when I used to script and play 150, no stacks of more than 4, and make sure I have 1 in every lineup, kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know if I would do that with this slate, but it's something I would certainly consider. And I actually have Gill as the number 1 pitcher on the slate personally. I think there's more variance maybe. I think the upside is very close between he and Snell and Sale. But I look, I'm probably going to end up with if I build in one lineup, I'm probably going to end up with the Yankees as being my 3-man, and Stanton, because of the pricing, Stanton, Verdugo, Judge, or something like that, or maybe throw Soto in there because he'll be a little bit lower owned always, because Judge, right now he's projected to be higher owned than Judge. I just don't think that there's a world where Soto really ends up higher owned than Judge, ever. It just doesn't ever happen. Anyway, the Yankees are obviously in a good spot. I love Louis Gill here for many reasons. Facing the White Sox, he's got look, they're a massive favorite in this game. His strikeout upside is tremendous, and the biggest thing is his big problem is when he struggles, it's that he gets wild. And these White Sox don't have any patient hitters. They have one guy who Benintendi, you could argue will at least make you pitch. Everybody else will be chasing early. Which you could argue lowers their strikeout upside, but I don't think it does in this case. So I'm high on Gill, and the Yankees will have to be less than 5 for me. All right, moving over to the Dodgers in Milwaukee.
Yeah, this could be some preview of something. It's possible, and I'm hoping that Kershaw, is working his way back. To listen, you don't need You don't need to. Yes, it would be nice to have the old Kershaw, but you don't need to have a perfect Kershaw. I mean, Kershaw is always going to be a good pitcher, whatever that means. He doesn't have the same stuff as he used to, but I don't know if this is the spot to play him. And Peralta, he always has upside, like I always say, and he always has downside. And this is certainly not the matchup to expect the upside. I'm not getting him as one of my top 4. I do see some outcomes where he can score really well though. So if I get to him in MME, I wouldn't mind. Hitting wise, just not really getting to much of anything over here.
Yeah, it's the first game on the road trip for the Dodgers. You could argue maybe to take a shot on with Peralta. I don't personally want to do that. I just think the other guys are in his price range are just much better, and I don't buy the early ownership projection on him. I like Sheets. Sheets has him at 10% from the first run. That's where I could see Peralta finishing. Sabersim's got him at like almost 20 or 17 and a half. Yeah. I don't think there's any way he ends up 20% owned on this slate or anywhere near there. Kershaw's interesting because at some point he's going to start pitching better. He's going to start looking better. Now he still has a pitch thing. He's in a different price tier. He sort of fits in like, okay, maybe you build a Kershaw and Singer lineup or something like that, or and that's how you can play the Yankees, like something like that. It just was one of the thoughts that occurred to me. So I keep Kershaw on the list because I do think there'll be one of these days he has a game. I also think if you're multi-entering, you should absolutely have some Milwaukee today. And I don't necessarily love the Dodgers as a full stack, but I certainly wouldn't mind getting like, a mini stack from the Dodgers. You have the obvious guys like Freeman, Ohtani, they're expensive. But Freeman, they did drop down to 5,100 from like 6,500. So that's nice. Lux is cheap. Kiki's on fire. Maybe you could make an argument for the Dodgers stack, but nothing that stands out as a priority for me in this game for sure.
Well, I know what I'm going to end up getting here after the Sims and all this stuff. I could just see it. Yeah, I'm gonna run it in a minute. It's just gonna be the White Sox. That's just what it's gonna be. I only mention it because not only does Gil look like a pretty good player who's gonna get ownership, but I actually did have the White Sox not as like my top stacks by any method, right? But I have them like 6th or 7th because of their value and stuff. Yeah. Usually when that happens, if they're even the slightest bit playable, that you'll probably try to get some leverage there. I don't know. I'm gonna see. But that's just kind of what I'm anticipating, expecting, fearing. I guess that's the best way to describe it.
You don't think they would give you like Milwaukee before they'd give you the White Sox?
I just don't know.
That would be the similar type of thing.
Well, I don't know if Kershaw's going to get any ownership.
Oh, right, fair enough. Yeah, I was just thinking just in terms of the low ownedness, I feel like they're going to be just as low owned almost, or maybe not just as, but close to. Yeah, no, it's a good point. All right, let's see, and we don't know about Betts when he's going to be back yet. So that's the thing. It's up in the air whether he'll be back today. So if Betts is back for the Dodgers, I certainly think you could definitely make a better case for the Dodgers. This lineup is getting healthy, and they're doing things. All right, Toronto and the LA Angels.
Yeah, so these are I have interest in both of these teams. Toronto being the primary one. So again, I have 4 top stacks here and 2 secondary ones. The Yankees were 1, Texas was the second one, and Toronto was a third. And then I actually do have the Angels as kind of like a 5th, 6th as well. So I do like both sides of this, and I guess I shouldn't say that means I don't like the pitchers, because I could like the pitchers also, but I don't. So I like both sides of the hitting in this game and neither of the pitchers.
Yeah, this is a pretty nice total here. And Sabersim likes it even a little better than the actual total. Okay. I think I like the Toronto a little bit better, but I like both. I have to decide on this one because I think both are very solid. Toronto's going to be higher owned, which maybe it does mean I lean a little bit more towards the Angels side of it, but I definitely like this spot here. As I mentioned, it's been a hot summer out here. We're used to getting Angel games below, like in the high 60s or whatever. And this game is 80 degrees. A little wind blowing out. So I'm in on both sides of this. I don't mind picking on either of these pitchers at all. And I think that they're two of the better spots to look at. Again, Toronto's going to have the more ownership, but I think the Angels are almost every bit as good at play. So I'm in on this one. And Toronto with a terrible bullpen this season, so keep that in mind. The only problem with the Angels that gets frustrating is like there's some guys who have some power, and then there's guys who just literally never, like, they always show up as the best plays, and it's because it's for a reason. Willie Calhoun has he hit a home run? And I don't know. As you said, since the Eisenhower administration, I don't know if he has. But yeah, definitely interested in the bats, not interested in the pitching here. All right.
So Brandon Pfaadt is going to be another, like the fourth, like of the four. They're all going to be 25% or plus, I guess, and he's the fourth one. We'll get to the third one, second and third in a minute. But so Brandon Pfaadt, he's cheaper. He's got a pristine matchup against Colorado. Listen, doesn't have the upside, obviously, as some of these other guys, but he is cheaper. He's going to, he's going to be, I don't want to say priority because I have four guys I could choose from, really. But he does open up a little bit more salary because he's only 8,600, and I certainly like it. And Arizona is one of the other four top stacks to go with the Yankees, Toronto, Texas. I always talk about Angels and White Sox. And so I do like Arizona as well against whoever this guy is from Colorado. So Arizona and Pfaadt.
It's pretty wild to see a 5.5 total against Colorado when it's not in Colorado. That's not a great sign. It does seem to me that, okay, so I got to think about this one exactly. So Bradley Blaylock, I don't know that much about, and I'd like to try to figure it out. I am confused because he came in relief so far, but he's projected for 84 pitches tonight. All right, this is my first look, and again, this is a meaning that we're expecting that 24 pitches or whatever, or sorry, that 84 pitches. If you really think he's going to throw 84 pitches and he's 50 and he's 4K, and he's never been faced before by the opponent, I think there's an argument to be made to maybe take a shot at a 4K pitcher.
We could research him during the course of the day to see what.
Yeah, I'll go through it. I just haven't figured it out yet. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't think it's out of the question. And you don't need all that much if you get the stacks right. The problem is that it feels like one of the nights where some of the pitchers are going to have huge games. Like Gill is in a great spot. Both pitchers in San Francisco are in great spots. But Pfaadt is supposed to throw the same amount of pitches as Blaylock is, and we're gonna play Pfaadt at 84 pitches. Something about that feels wrong too. I don't know that he's really going to throw only 84, but if that's the case, and he's still projecting this well, I know it's a good matchup, but I would rather do something else than try to play Pfaadt. And if I played him, I would want to play him like with a Singer or with a Kershaw, another low-owned piece in the same price range that you're actually discounting and allowing yourself a different type of build or something like that. So I thought about this one a little bit, and I do want to look a little bit more into Blaylock and see why we really think that he's going to get all the run, as we say. He hasn't pitched. I guess it's because he's coming back from the minors. So anyway, I'll look more into it with Blaylock, and otherwise, I'm probably again, Arizona is going to be clearly the second highest owned team. Is it not as high as I thought? Wow. For the total they have, I would be very surprised if these numbers hold true and that they're this low owned. If they did hold true, I would just immediately make Arizona my top stack, and I probably would still have some interest in taking a shot on Blaylock in other tournaments. But
well, here's a couple of things. I'm just so first of all, Blaylock on the negative side. Okay, he has at AA. He had a 4 ERA and 64 to 27 K to walk ratio, which is pretty awful.
How many innings did it say?
Across 75 innings.
75. Okay. That's a lot of walks.
But the other thing is that like the Rockies did get this guy. In other words, they made a trade back, just a week or two ago, and they got him and some other guy that we're never going to see for Nick Mears. Okay, whatever. So they did a little research on this guy, I guess. You know what I mean? To get it, and they're putting him in there right away. So I mean, it's not like the Rockies are contending for a title or anything like that. So it's not like they're risking anything by doing it. But I mean, on the positive side, I mean, it's not like they need to. I mean, they're actually like pitching him. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
So maybe I don't know. Maybe maybe 4K. You know.
But, so just in quick research, he's 23 years old, so that's a sign where we don't really know who he is yet. So that's okay.
Yeah.
And then also on top of it, he, look, he was the number 17 prospect in the Brewers organization. Now that's not ideal, but 17th prospect is for the Brewers organization is actually not so bad. They've brought up some pretty good talent recently. And in case you're wondering, just look at Sheets' screenshots, and you can see all the young Brewers who from the last few years just making their way into those lineups. Because you want to, like, with a lot of Brewer stacks, if I'm not mistaken, not necessarily this weekend, but in the last couple of weeks. Anyway, so I do think that it's something I might entertain later. If you're going to play the Yankees, why not get really creative with it? That would be. Then I might have a 5-man Yankee stack if that was.
Hey, 4K is 4K. You know, like it's
exactly. Especially if nobody else has more than 30.
Especially like you said, when you want to get to maybe the Yankees and
Yeah, you want to play Soto and Judge both together? Okay, there's a way you can do it. All right, moving on to
the triumphant return of Joe Musgrove. It looks like so. He was supposed to come in this weekend, but he did not. Home against the Pirates, I can't imagine playing him, so I'm going to be off of that. I can't imagine getting to Gonzalez either, and I'm not getting to the hitting, so I'm kind of off of this whole game.
Yeah, this game feels that way, right? At first look, and I just wanted to just see if there's anything I'm maybe not considering. And Musgrove, we're assuming he starts. I assume he starts. It's not, I guess, a guarantee yet. I guess it's just probably a stay away for me. I certainly don't mind if you want to take a bat or two against Marco Gonzalez, but we say the same thing every time. He does, he's had some more times where he's gotten lit up recently, but it's overall been sort of like a frustrating effort for everybody who stacks against him every time, going back for a while now. So anyway, probably not going to get to this one myself, although it is tempting a little bit with the Padres against the lefty. I forgot to mention before that I actually like the Rockies as a contrarian, maybe not even a stack, but yeah, maybe even a full stack against Fott. I like Fott probably mows through him and all that stuff. I think there's enough upside for a non-heavy strikeout pitcher against Colorado. I'll just take a gamble here a little bit on this slightly smaller slate and just throw Colorado into the mix anyway.
By the way, just to kind of follow up, the aforementioned Dylan Cease, right? So he pitched that no-hitter a couple of starts back, and I said I really want to pitch against him his next start. The start after that, I was going to go against him, but first of all, it was an early slate, and I forgot. And the game rained, so he only got in for one pitch or one inning. So yesterday he came out in the pristine spot against Miami at 78% ownership and put up a 5-piece. They got to him for 5 runs. Now they weren't all earned, but he couldn't find the plate. He was, you know what I mean? So this is stuff to watch for. You know, like these guys off these huge ceiling performances, you know, whatever it is, you just can't expect it to come back again. Now, with that said, you know, Blake Snell coming off the 100,000 pitch no hitter, he was just okay and fine, I suppose, right? In his next one, 24 at 9,200 is, I guess, okay. But listen, giving up 3 runs to Washington isn't exactly the greatest. But something's happened. I mean, he's back. You know, like I don't know what to say. So both these pitchers from this game are 2 of my top 4. I honestly don't know which is the better matchup right now. You know, like obviously you could say that Atlanta's better hitters than San Francisco. But San Francisco can be tricky, you know, with all the crap they pull, you know. And Atlanta hasn't exactly been the greatest hitting team of all time either this year. So I'm actually not sure which one of these guys I like the most. But I do like both of them. And I just hope I don't get all kinds of Atlanta and San Francisco stats when I run this stuff. So, but Sale and Snell along with Gill are the 3 kind of spend up great plays. The fat one is the one again. I'm kind of with you that it's a little fishy, I guess. You know, the 8,600, is it really worth it? You know, to go down from like one of those 3 to him. You can't make your lineups work without playing, fat with an 85 pitch, whatever projection. I don't know. But anyway, so I do like the big spend ups, I suppose, the Sale, Gill, Snell, as my favorites, then Fat. And I don't like any of the hitting in this game. And then Yankees, Toronto, Texas, Zona, Angels, White Sox. And then we're going to run a sim after you talk about this game.
Yeah, let's do it. So I was going to throw out that, yeah, these are pretty clear in a way. And in fact, they're projecting like better than most pitchers have projected all season long. That's the obvious thing, is to play these guys over Gill, who all look very, very good today. So that sort of sums up my three logical pitchers. I'm not taking hitters in this game. If you ended up with a one-off, I certainly wouldn't get it out or anything like that. In fact, I think you could make it if this game was in Atlanta, I would be making a little bit of a case for Atlanta. It's just in San Francisco, where balls go to die. It's a little harder to do in a 6.5 total in 50-degree weather in the middle of summer, of course, or the end of summer, whatever. Anyway, I think these pitchers are very clearly, I think they're going to be more popular than they're being projected for by a significant amount. And I think they stand out as the obvious ones. But I like Gill. I will probably play one of these guys with Gill in my one lineup, most likely. If I played two lineups, I might decide to get creative and play something like the Blaylock, the Singer, or the Kershaw as the ones that I think are the most interesting as the off the board. I like the Texas-Boston game. I mean, starting off, New York and Arizona are the clear most obvious stacks. Also, they'll be the highest owned. If Arizona ends up as low owned as they are right now, I definitely will go that direction. Texas and Boston, Toronto and LA. Then Colorado is my large field get creative thing.
So here, this is going to probably put a smile on your face. Two-pronged smile. So first of all, I don't know if you heard, but they had the live final, the baseball live final this weekend. I don't know whether it was the FanDuel or the DraftKings.
It must have been FanDuel because Rody's got 3 at the DraftKings, and we would have.
Oh, okay. So I guess it was the FanDuel, and you'd appreciate this, like all the experts playing this, and the winner had like a 1-1-1-1-1-1-1 or something like that.
Oh,
right. But what was better is that would put some smile on your face. But the thing you like the most is the massive tilt that it caused among like all the participants.
They freak out if you don't do it by the book. It's worse than the poker days. How could you play a hand like?
It's amazing.
Like, your own thing. It's so crazy to me.
At first they're like, I can't believe it, the gall, and then they're like, well, this proves that DFS is not dead because this moron like won with this, and you have to laugh, right? Right? And it puts a smile on your face because I have to tell you there are some people. It's not just you. I mean, there are some analytical people out there too. I don't know if they will talk. We talked about Endgame Syndicate a little bit the other day, but there's some good talk going on around there. And even Adam was putting out there some thoughts that listen, there are these guys out there that are doing really, really well with these like 3-3-2 stacks, and whatever is something going on that we should really be thinking about, and so it's not just like one guy. Showing up at the live final, like getting lucky twice. That means you would have got like super lucky twice if he's that bad, right? You'd have to get so lucky to beat all those experts to make the live final, and then beat them all again, like in the live final using the same thing or whatever. Anyway, that's the first thing I'll throw out there. Second thing, to be more topical, I didn't run the Sims yet, but I just ran like the straight Saber Sim build. And when I built 150 out of the Saber Sim lineups, I'll show. Listen, we're getting 100% Yankees, but check this out. Look at my board here. Like they're like the top stack type is 4 zeros. Look at this. Like 4 zeros the top, then 4-2, then 5-0. Like you don't even get to 5-2, 5-3. So you don't even one out of the 150 lineups.
Right.
Is 5-3. So what do I make of that? I don't know.
I think it's interesting, and the first I always go back to the when I first started really noticing it because it was Brandon Adams and it was every big tournament, every $1 million buy-in, all these he was doing this no stack whatever thing, and that is one of the most analytically sharp people. I do not think he's just he doesn't just burn money, he's really really sharp in the way he thinks about these things. Yep. And when guys like that start doing that, it just makes you go, okay, well there is some other method to the madness. There's other ways to win. And I sort of like that too. I don't think that it makes sense to just go and play theoretic, game theory optimal, quote unquote, like all the time. There's ways to get different that are going to put people like that in poker or tough situations, and it'll give you differentiating lineups in DFS.
but it's funny. Everybody has opinions, and you know, the great part is it hasn't really been solved. So somebody asked me in my in the chat before we started today in the Discord. They said, "Sheets, I see that when you go through these things and you X out these bow wow stacks, are you doing that because of like data or whatever, or you just kind of feel like it, right?" And I was very honest. I'm like, I honestly just feel like. I mean, like I personally feel that the 5-man stacks are actually underestimated by SaberSim. I have no proof of that. You know what I mean? It's just because I guess my history, like just with my hedge fund and stuff, like just seeing how things like operate together or whatever it is, like that. There's a little more respect there. And again, that doesn't mean I'm right. Not at all. I mean, like I'm not showing up at live finals with 1-1-1s for $1 million. You know what I mean? What do I know? You know?
And by the way, neither would I, as much as I like the idea of it.
Right. So I don't know. I'm working this out. So here you'll get like all the Yankees, 100% Yankees, 40% Arizona, and then as far as pitching goes, again, and we'll run a sim in a second. But before we do that, you'll see that you'd be getting, and there's a reason why I'm doing this way. So pitchers, I'd be getting literally 3 pitchers. I'd be getting Snell, 100%. Snell, 90%. 90% Snell, 100% Sale, 8% Gill, which by the way explains why you're getting these non-traditional stacks. Is because they want you to double pay for this stuff, you know.
Right, and you can't afford them all if you double
them otherwise.
Right.
But what I want to do, what I like doing, is comparing, like what you get without applying the sims to what you get applying the sims. And
I love that.
And I even put that in the Endgame Discord. I'm like, listen, you guys you're super freaking smart with your coding and your all the stuff that you guys can do. I mean, try to analyze this. You know, if you want you're getting well into the weeds for this stuff. See what the difference is between if you run like normal lineups and when you sim it, like what the delta is and what that might mean. And so like here, for example, I just ran the sim. I'm gonna look at it for the first time, like with the knuckleball. So with sort of by risk adjusted ROI, with the knuckleball, let's just see. Did it not even? Hold on, let me just do it again. Let's run the sim here, and I want to see what the difference is. Because I know it's not going to be the same dispersion of results, but I want to see if the stacks are any different. Hold on, let's see. Mega 8s. It looks as though they're getting a little bit. Hold on, let's see something. Okay. No, it's not really doing anything for me. I think the sims are a little bit slow today. They haven't really updated at all. So we'll just do it. We'll just do it again later. Again, that's rule number 1. Always test your technology before trying to demo it. But I guess it's not really doing much for me today. The sim, so we'll do it later.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good. Yeah. So I'm curious to see how this one shakes out, but I'm starting to think more about this Blaylock idea, and that might be crazy, but I might take a shot there.